Coach, what was it like for you to watch that game between the Bears and the Packers?
Well, just when you thought you saw it all, something else happened good for the Bears. I mean, I was impressed with Green Bay, be quite honest with you. Their leading safety was out, their signal caller, and obviously Parsons. And then Jacobs didn't practice all week, so we knew he hurt. Their best tackle was hurt. And then Love went in there. And then when their backup came out, I'll tell you what, 9 for 11 with Malik Willis. I really thought under the circumstances with some key guys out that I thought the Bears would initially get after them, a little bit more than that. I thought Green Bay did a good job. But the one thing, obviously, there were several things, the Bears' defense, it was a great change in strategy. The first time, you could just hear Dennis Allen. Okay, we gave up 2 passes trying to pressure him some over 40 yards the first time out. That ain't going to happen this time. So Dennis Allen adjusted the whole game plan. They played that too high. They played some single high. But they were going to stay on top of these speed receivers and make them drive, 15, 16, 17 plays, which they did, but then we stop them in the red zone. So I really like that plan. And then on offense, anytime you can run the ball like the Bears can, for, over 5 yards a carry, 150 yards rushing, you're going to have a chance to win every week, anywhere against who. And that, the Bears' run game has really kind of turned into be their lifeline for this offense. And, boy, I just love it. I thought it was fantastic. And then obviously special teams with our man, Cairo. I mean, he was outstanding, and special teams player of the week. He deserved it.
And Joshua Blackwell with the big onside kick recovery.
Yes, and he's the same guy. So some of these guys, you don't even you forget that they're on the team. He's the guy that blocked the field goal, against the Raiders. We know that. So he's a guy that he plays 2 or 3 different positions over there. And it was we took advantage of every opportunity that the Green Bay gave us. The Bears seized the moment, and that's what good teams have to do.
Yeah, Ben Johnson's press conference, he actually said him and the staff were having a meeting, and they thought Josh Blackwell might be the best special teamer in the league. But, Coach, as a defensive guy, I know you've had to go against a number of systems. How do you go against stopping a team that main threat is a running back out the backfield, and if he plays, he's trending towards playing, from what I'm hearing, a tight end instead of these big wide receivers? How do you go about trying to devise a game plan against that?
Well, it kind of, I'll tell you what, it starts, with the running game. And now you said who's trending toward playing, Clay? I lost
George Kittle. Sorry, we're talking about the 49ers right now. George Kittle, tight end, and then Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield and everything he's doing. Their main players are a tight end and a running back. So it's like, how do you go about stopping a team that seems to be good because of their running back and tight end?
Absolutely. No, McCaffrey, there's a reason you're right on point, Clay. I mean, there's a reason he's all pro, one of the best backs, and most productive, I would say, because when you look at his statistics running and then look at his statistics catching the ball out of the backfield, and you can flex him out. I mean, he's a mismatch for linebackers. When they move him out of the backfield, whether it's motion or line him up there, and you have a linebacker that's going to try to cover him in space, you're at a disadvantage. I mean, he's that good. And Kittle, I expect Kittle to play. And, because of the run game, teams have to gang up to stop the run, and that opens up the play-action pass. You know this from playing the position. The easiest high-percentage throw, get the ball out quick for play-action passes, is the tight end. And they do a lot of movement stuff too. Purdy's not obviously the athlete that Caleb is, but they will do the boots and the waggles and the movement passes just like the Bears do, and their tight ends are primary targets just like the Bears. So there's a lot of similarities with offensive philosophies. And I'll tell you what, one other thing, I did a study on these guys when I was working at Fox out in L.A., and their offense, at one time, when they went to the Super Bowl that year, we had the Super Bowl, so I had to do something and kind of look at them close, and they were doing more shifts and motions than anybody in the NFL. But here was the key: the shifts and the motions, and then the run game. And then I'm telling you now, they had a pass that was identical to the run. So, you had motions and shifts getting guys moving, and then all of a sudden, bang, here comes McCaffrey at you. You think it's a run, and it's a pass. The next time, it's reverse. You think, okay, I'm going to be soft and play the pass, and they hand them the football. So, and that's very similar to what Ben does here with Chicago. We all know that. So, these two offenses, I think, there's a lot more similar from a philosophy standpoint than what people probably realize.
Coach, I wanted to bring this up and let you and Clay talk about it a little bit, and that's the throws at the end of the game that Caleb Williams made, where you have the I think there was a dagger over the middle late in the game, then obviously the throw to Jade Walker and the throw to DJ Moore at the end of the game to win it. Those throws, from someone who hasn't been a part of pro football, those were incredible throws. And Jade Walker, Clay, you were talking about it before the show. That catch was a lot harder than people think it was. Why?
Yeah, I think for me, it's the fact that this guy hasn't played, and coach has probably seen this before. He's probably looked at training camp and said, wow, man, this kid can play. Like, where is he from? And then next thing you know, training camp, we're in preseason. He makes a couple plays in preseason, but guess what? Once you get between the lines on Sunday, big game, this guy hasn't even been on the field. Things change. You guys get a little tight. For him to go out in that situation as a rookie, not to let the lights get too bright, that's what was probably the most impressive thing for me, because I know when I was a rookie, in training camp, murdered it. Preseason games, not that much pressure. Okay, you get in the regular season, these big games, that's when stuff starts speeding up for you. The crowd, you let it get the better of you. Jade Walker did not flinch. That play, he had to go up and get his feet down, and then the dagger at the beginning of the game to come into Bears-Packers. A almost playoff type atmosphere. Honestly, it felt more like a Super Bowl type atmosphere. To make those plays, to me, that's what was special in context, because this is a rookie that has not taken a snap before the game.
It was funny. I'm sitting here today flicking through the TV, and I don't know what station it was. They had plays that could have and should have and so forth. And they showed, I don't know what, you guys might be able to help me with what year it was, but the Steelers were playing somebody in the AFC Championship. No, wait. And the receiver was Thigpen, okay? Remember the receiver for the Steelers? Tyler Thigpen, I think his name was. I know his last name was Thigpen.
Yancey Thigpen, right?
Yancey, okay. Was it Yancey Thigpen?
It might.
They showed the play today, I swear to God. And he might have been a Pro Bowl receiver. He was their number one. I do know that. And they showed a play today where the defense busted the coverage, same thing as Green Bay, and he was wide open. Guys, he was just like Walker in the corner of the end zone, and Ben lofted the pass up to him, and he bobbled it and dropped it. And Pittsburgh did not go on from there. That was the end of their season. So it's ironic that I was watching that today on one of these shows, and there's our man Walker, just like Clay described it. I mean, and then you got to give Caleb credit too. How many times have we seen Caleb with a guy open in the end zone or close to being open, not that open, okay, and throw the ball 3 feet over his head or 2 feet out of bounds? So the throw, the catch, the play call, you can't script it any better.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. I mean, that was a zero blitz. He noticed where he had to go with the ball. And he didn't make an easy throw because he had to release the ball before he knew that Green Bay had screwed up the coverage. So that play could have been a lofted catch that was easy, but no, that was a play that he thought there was going to be a guy trailing him, and he threw it high and deep. High back five is what they call it in Chicago, and he had to make the catch. He couldn't bobble it. If he bobbled it, guess what? That's out of the end zone. So that's why I was so impressed, and especially since this was a guy that it was his first game ever playing in the National Football League.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and he, for him to get to this point, and I was talking about this on the morning show, I mean, guys that come in as free agents get scrutinized and getting evaluated daily from the coaches, from the personnel people, more so than a established player, because they want to see if the guy has anything. Can they trust him? So this guy earned it. I don't know much about him other than what we talked about, but he obviously has done enough in practice and meetings and everything else to have Ben Johnson's trust in this situation. And then Lawrence, you mentioned the other pass. I mean, that was crazy. I mean, for that play, it wasn't open. We didn't fool him on the long touchdown, the game winner. But it was just a fantastic pass, obviously, by Caleb. And I said this when I was doing my NBC show. I drew this play up, and I said I had a close-up of DJ Moore's eyes. And I said, hey, anybody that's out there that's a receiver, watch his focus. And he watched that ball with those eyes all the way into his hands. I mean, you couldn't draw it up or have an illustration better if you're trying to teach a young kid how to catch a football. No different than catching a baseball. You got to see it all the way into the glove. Football, you got to see it all the way into your hands. And it was just unbelievable because he was covered. Whether it was the guy was on his back halfway, but I mean, he had to make a play on that. It was outstanding.
The way that Caleb has been able to win these games in dramatic fashion. I don't know if we should get used to it, but it feels like we should get used to it because he just keeps doing it. When you have a player that is in those moments, doesn't flinch, how much confidence does that give a huddle in a locker room?
Well, I think it gives the team in the locker room and the coaches and the fans a lot of confidence from the standpoint that, okay, we're down 2 scores. If we can somehow get one and get it within reach, we can win this game. And that's huge. I mean, I've been on a lot of teams where, heck, if you fall behind by 1 touchdown, the game's over. You don't feel you got any chance to score. So this is just the opposite of that. And he's, now all of a sudden when you do it, 6 times this year, it's nothing new for him. He's been there. He's done it. So the confidence is real. It's not a coach standing up there saying, we can do this thing, guys. No, they've done it.
And just for some context of that, Caleb Williams now leads the NFL with 6 fourth-quarter comebacks. He tied Peyton Manning, who had 6 in 1999, for the most in a season for any player under the age of 25. If he gets one more, that's all Caleb's. But, Coach, I want to talk about this red zone defense. The Bears let the Packers get into the red zone. Not only the red zone, the low red zone 5 times. And this was one of the best red zone teams in the league. Obviously, you had the takeaway there. Besides the takeaway, what did you see that helped the Bears to stop the Packers when they were that close in the low red zone 5 times?
Well, your defensive line has to show up here. And I thought they did because, we were playing combination coverages, and there's always the threat for Green Bay to throw it. So, that's a tough situation on the Packers because they stress your defense. Usually most teams, when they get down there, it's either run or pass. And you look at what's happened in the past and the history, and now you kind of stack your defense accordingly. But not with these guys. These guys are balanced. I mean, we saw in the first game they handed the ball to Jacobs in the same situation, and he carried everybody into the end zone for a touchdown. So you got to stop the run, number one, and then obviously with the pass, I mean, you just got to do a fantastic job. There's no real secret to it. Though I always thought, I kept track of this. I would blitz one out about every 5 times in the red zone just to keep the offense honest. But really, if you've got an experienced quarterback and you line up like you're going to blitz, it's the easiest thing for a quarterback to read. And as crazy as that sounds, and we in Green Bay proved that when we blitzed them the first time and they hit those 2 bombs. But if you're blitzing and you walk up and he sees it, man, it's just one-on-one coverage, and now the offense has an advantage. So you want to line up like you're playing those zones, and then you're counting on to get safety help if it's a pass.